Zimbabwe's president has just landed in Ghana, but instead of diplomacy as usual, he came with a strong message to the West.
Our country is bidding for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for the 2027 to 2028 term.
Calling some Western sanctions as stupid and openly thanking Ghana for backing calls to remove them.
We thank Ghana for your continued support as we prepare to contribute to global peace and security.
But here's where it gets interesting. Behind the speeches, there are major deals being signed, new economic alliances are being formed, and Africa may be quietly rewriting the stories.
Two countries later signed 10 bilateral agreements and the Memorandum of Understanding and political cooperation in areas such as sports, tourism, health, and energy.
So what really is happening between Ghana and Zimbabwe? In this video, I break down exactly what the president of Zimbabwe has been up to in Ghana. And all that you gotta do is to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first to receive any of our videos. Now let's get into the story.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
From the visiting president of Zimbabwe. So there, in short, the two leaders of two very powerful countries in terms of the historic antecedents of this continent.
So I've already given you the backstory. If it is the first time, don't forget to watch the first story of President Emmerson Mnangagwa arriving in Ghana for a 3-day state visit. And so far, so good. It's gone so well. This visit is already making headlines, not for diplomacy, but for politics, economics, and power. And in one of the speeches, in fact, before even this, President Mnangagwa, after being received by President John Dramani Mahama, was gifted a beautiful batakari or fugu, which Zambians call it parachute. So he was gifted one by President John Dramani Mahama. Now that is because before he even came, he has told President that, hey man, when I come, I also want fugu. I also want my blouse. I also want my blouse or my So he was gifted one. And now after the visit and everything, during talks, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has condemned Western sanctions on his country, Zimbabwe, saying that they cripple the country. In fact, he described some of those sanctions as unnecessary and harmful, and he also expressed gratitude to Ghana for supporting calls to have these sanctions removed.
The importance of telling our own stories as Africans through our own lenses and narratives must continue to be emphasized. Excellency and brother, guided by our foreign policy thrust that Zimbabwe is a friend to all and an enemy to none, our country is bidding for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for the 2027 to 2028 term. We thank Ghana for your continued support as we prepare to contribute to global peace and security. Allow me, my dear brother, to also express Zimbabwe's deep gratitude to Ghana for your steadfast support in calling for the unconditional removal of the unjust, illegal, unilateral sanctions imposed on us by some stupid Western countries for more than 2.5 decades. Despite the albatross of these illegal and inhuman sanctions, Zimbabwe remains resilient, scoring unprecedented development and economic milestones across all sectors.
Now, this is significant because for years, Zimbabwe has argued that sanctions have slowed its economic progress, while Western countries insist they are necessary. And now, Ghana is stepping into the conversation to ensure that all of this comes to a resolution. And so Ghana now stepping into the conversation, in fact, signals something bigger. It signals a growing African voice on global issues.
We must also deepen cooperation in education, in tourism, culture, and sports, areas that strengthen people-to-people connections and sustain long-term partnerships. I'm particularly encouraged by the discussions on potential tourism collaboration, linking destinations such as Cape Coast and Victoria Falls. This presents an opportunity to combine Ghana's rich historical heritage with Zimbabwe's globally renowned natural attractions. Several priority areas we can deepen collaboration for mutual benefit. In the mining sector, both our countries are richly endowed with natural resources. We must work together to promote responsible mining practices and, importantly, enhance value addition and beneficiation so that Africa retains a greater share of the wealth that is derived from our natural resources.
The backstory is that Zimbabwe has been under various Western sanctions for over 2 decades. That's around 20 years, targeting key individuals and sectors. But across Africa, there is an increasing debate that are these sanctions helping or hurting ordinary people? And now countries like Ghana are beginning to take a clear stance, pushing for dialogue and reconsideration instead of using sanctions to cripple the Zimbabwean economy. That's the reason why when you go to South Africa is already getting flooded with Zimbabweans because the economy is crippling. In fact, day in and day out, there are sanctions, heavy sanctions that do not allow Zimbabwe to grow as a country. They are unable to export as they want. If they try to export, there are huge taxes placed on their head, allow other countries to have free trade with them, and a whole lot. So Ghana is only stepping in as a bigger brother to help Zimbabwe come out of this. But beyond the politics, the visit is really about economic cooperation. In fact, Ghana and Zimbabwe are working on trade agreement, agricultural partnership, tourism collaboration, healthcare cooperation, and most importantly, the signing of key Memorandum of Understanding that could shape long-term collaboration. And that is not just talk. They've already been signed and sealed.
The two countries later signed 10 bilateral agreements and the Memorandum of Understanding and political cooperation in areas such as sports, tourism, health, and energy.
Now, one thing everybody was waiting for, I remember when I posted the first video, people said there's going to be a visa-free between Ghana and Zimbabwe. So, unknown to me, or surprisingly, it turned out that Ghana and Zimbabwe already have a visa-free agreement. So, Ghanaians can travel to Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe can also travel to Ghana. It's already there. I didn't know, but the president revealed that. So, there's no need for any visa waiver. They already have the visa waiver. And so, they only signed Memorandum of Understanding and key major partnership deals.
In Ghana and Zimbabwe are in laws. We have a visa-free environment already. We can travel to each other's countries without needing a visa. You just hop onto the plane and arrive.
This signals a shift that African countries are no longer waiting for external partnership. In fact, they are building direct economic bridges among themselves. West Africa meets Southern Africa. Now, as part of his visit, President Mnangagwa toured the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant, which is a subsidiary of the Jospong Group of Companies. So if you've been to Ghana, we have a compost plant where instead of just going to take your rubbish and go and dispose it at any place, when you go to some African countries, there are huge piles of rubbish. I mean, disconnecting the image of the country. And you see, and journalists always will go and video this rubbish. Instead of portraying the good side of the country, journalists will go and video rubbish. I don't understand. Listen, when you go to America, Europe, they also have rubbish, all right? But they don't video it and put it out. But Africa, I don't know why we take key interest in that. Anyway, so In Ghana, we have a compost plant where you take your rubbish to this compost plant. It is free, and sometimes they're even paid, I hear. So all those Zumlayan people, you see them on the street of Accra collecting rubbish and taking money. They also get paid for disposing that rubbish at the compost plant. So President Emmerson Mnangagwa, paid a visit to the compost and recycling plant. The goal was to study Ghana's waste management and sustainable model, and two, to explore how similar solutions can be implemented in Zimbabwe so that you don't have, rubbish staying, a heaping pile up in Zimbabwe, but then they can also have a compost plant where you can stand rubbish and rubbish can be refined. So Mr. Siao Japan took him round to see how things are done, how they are able to turn rubbish and filth into something meaningful that can generate wealth and income for the country. And aside it, President Emmerson Mnangagwa also visited several other places. And very soon, he will be bringing to an end his 3-day visit to Ghana. And I'm sure it's been revealing. In fact, he's learned a lot and he's come up with a lot of ideas to make Zimbabwe a better place for his people and to prevent them from migrating to South Africa in that huge trenches. Now, this visit comes at a time when Ghana is also making bold moves on the continent. There are ongoing discussions around visa-free access to Africans, especially tied to Africa Day on May 25th. So, at that same event, Ghana also revealed that starting on 25th May, which is Africa Union Day, Ghana is having a visa-free deal for all Africans. Everybody can come to Ghana. Zimbabwe, you can come to Ghana, all right? But the president also announced plans to ensure that not everybody can come to the country. In fact, the people who come checked, regulated, and everything taken in due course. But if implemented fully, this could unlock easier movement for trade and opportunity across the continent. So when you put everything together, they spoke about sanctions debate, economic agreement, sustainability, cooperation, and continental integration. When all of that come together, you start to see a bigger picture forming. That is Africa quietly building a new economic future? But this is just the beginning, because the real impact will come when these agreements are fully implemented. And so my final question to end the video is that, will this Ghana-Zimbabwe partnership deliver real results, or it will remain just another diplomatic visit? What do you think? And for President Emmerson Mnangagwa's shot to the Western countries, do you support him? Do you agree or do you disagree? Leave your comment in the comment section. It's a wrap for today.